The Netocrats by Alexander Bard and Jan Söderqvist. I tried to explain this book to a colleague of mine over lunch sometime before our Christmas break, and I tried to explain how it utterly fascinated me and how I felt like I only partially understood it because it's quite a complex book, but most importantly, it gave me a new lens through which to see the world. And it must have intrigued him, because when we got back from winter break, we had lunch again, and he told me that not only had he read this book, but he had read other books in this trilogy, and he was enthusiastically urging me to do the same. The book was written in the year 2000, and it talks about a new paradigm. It talks about the transition from capitalism into informationalism in the wake of the internet era. And like any genuine revolution, the internet revolution, it meant that the whole Darwinian system of punishment and reward had to be restructured, and it introduced a new over and underclass, the Consumtariat and The Netocracy. Let's go! Hi and welcome to the Booklab. I'm Bjorn, and this is the place where we bring you the best book recommendations when it comes to philosophy, psychology, human nature and human potential. And today we're talking about the Netocracy. And this new system was invented in the 1990s, but it's reinvented in this book by contemporary internet philosophers Alexander Bard and Jan Söderqvist. The book starts out with a really neat overview of how technology can work as a driving force for history. It goes through the invention of language, to written language, to the printing press, to the internet, and also the transitions from feudalism to capitalism, and now the transition phase into informationalism. Technology plays its own hand. Any technology worth its salt plays its own hand. It's designed for one thing and it ends up being used for something else. Take the clock, for instance. It's an innocent enough of an artifact, but this little infernal machine with its seconds and minutes, it has, in retrospect, changed how we all perceive time. In the beginning it was invented for monasteries so that monks could keep track on how much they prayed, and now look how it haunts us. So what is this new over and underclass? Well, first we have the new underclass, this Consumtariat, whose main function is to consume rather than produce things. The underclass of information society, a proletariat of consumption which lacks the power and initiative to produce its own social identity, and which is therefore condemned passively to consume a pre-produced identity. And then on the other side of the spectrum we have the new overclass, the Netocrats. Netocracy, the dominant class of informationalism. In other words, the elite which attains power and status through its unique capacity to create attentional value, and which produces and controls its own social identity, primarily through intensive networking. Money follows attention and not vice versa. The only hard currency on the net is attention. Knowledge, contacts and exclusive information, that replaces capital for the Netocrat. Note: before, we ran away from strangers that looked strong. Now we engage with them and gain mutual benefits. In the Netocracy, politicians are selected based on their entertainment value and what kind of narrative they can be fit into. They are basically selected to feed the headlines. And it's interesting, this book is written over 20 years ago, so it's interesting to see these ideas and prophecies come to fruition, because I think we have seen this in a lot of places recently. This is a great book to read before you sit down to contemplate and reflect on your role in society in this third decade of the 21st century. And one question to ponder maybe is what you are doing professionally rising in value or getting lowered in value in this new paradigm? It's a must-read book in my opinion, and a total mindfuck. actually one of the strengths of this book is that it's outdated in a way. I mean, this book is 20 years old, and books about the internet, they don't usually age very well. But that's not the case with this one, because it predicts a lot of things, a lot of trends, and now we can see all those things that the book predicts manifest in everyday life, which is a super cool thing. So check out the Netocrats. It's actually made it onto my great books list, which I have a link to in the description. And while you're down there clicking, press the subscribe button, like, comment, all of that, because it really helps me reach more people, and I would love to do that. So I think that's it for me. See you next Thursday with more book reviews, and until then, Bjorn out.